welcome to Flying Wheels. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. This is my 2003 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra Terminator Supercharged convertible. That's a lot of words. Today is Dyno Day. Yesterday, I bought this car at a dealer auction, sight unseen. It was like running through the lanes. I'm like, oh yeah, I want a Terminator. Raise my hand, I buy the car. Don't know if it's a good price, don't know if it's a bad price, don't know anything about the car, if it even runs. I could tell you the battery was dead when I got to the car and it had to be junked. Then I bring it back to my shop. Who's at my shop? A guy that was interested in this car from the previous owner. Turns out this car has thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of performance parts and 562 wheel horsepower? No, what was it? 600? 500? 600 plus wheel horsepower. And the guy sent me all the records and receipts and dynos and everything. Today, we're gonna put it to the test and put this thing on a dyno with my friends at Kinetic Motorworks in Hampstead, New Hampshire, next day. So we brought it in, we went through the car, and just to make sure, you know, fluids are to spec and it's running right, and I'm gonna bring it to the dyno right now. But first I have some questions. I know how to drive cars. When it comes to fixing cars, I don't have the patience for it. I love detailing cars. I don't have the patience for performance parts. I'd prefer a stock car because they're more reliable. I would love for you guys to tell me what these things are. Ready? Okay, we obviously have the Kennebelle Supercharger. We have the aluminum coolant reservoir that goes to the supercharger. We have the performance cold air intake right there. This hand-built by these two guys. I can't read their signatures. What I don't know, and Dave doesn't know, we also have different pulleys and belts. What Dave and I do not know is what is this right here? Now we know it has like performance or upgraded fuel lines underneath. It had like a frame connector welded to the subframe because it doesn't have a frame. So they welded a frame to the bottom of the car. What is that? Tell me down below. Yeah, thanks Dave. What is that? It's a pressure gauge for what? I'm not quite sure. Is that a reservoir?
No.
Is it a fuel pressure gauge?
That's a fuel pressure. Your fuel line comes here. I just figured it out.
So this is a fuel pressure gauge?
Yep, it comes in here.
Okay.
Fuel line over here to your rail.
There it is.
Another one right here. That's your fuel pressure regulator.
What else is concerning is this right here. What is this line with a bolt in it? Right there. What is that and why? I don't know. Is it dangerous? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be there for some reason, but a bolt in a line is never safe. One of my favorite parts about this car isn't so much the engine. It's this roll bar. I love this blue roll bar. It's perfectly color matched to the Sonic Blue or whatever color this is. Clearly, I don't know enough about these cars. I've never owned a Cobra. I know a lot about cars in general, just not specifics to every specific car. Shoot me, whatever. We have oil pressure gauge, boost gauge. What we found out about this car, it doesn't have a key because you had it. It doesn't have cats, so it has headers to a BBK cross pipe, X pipe, dual MagnaFlow mufflers. Sadly, no cat. Wow. Now I could actually return this car at auction because it has an aftermarket frame welded to the subframe and it doesn't have cats. Neither of those were announced. So those announcements, if I don't like this car, I actually have 6 more days to return the car. It sounds so good. I love the whine for the supercharger. Enough chitty chat from Craig. Let's get this on the lift. Let's get it to Kinetic Motorworks and get this thing dyno. This right here, what is this right here? It's welded to the car. Is it just to stiffen the chassis? I assume that is what it is. Fit systems. And there's the performance upgraded fuel lines right there. And it's on both sides. So we MagnaFlow X-pipe, BBK X-pipe to headers here. And then there is that subframe, torsion bar. I don't even know what you call these things. Again, I don't know performance parts. I know how to drive cars. I don't know how to build cars. I don't do that. I just like to drive them. Clearly they have a specialty. So again, Kinetic Motorworks, they were generous enough to take my Cobra in within 24 hours of my purchase. But you guys, you did that for me. But what is your specialty? You mind telling me?
Mostly Subaru-based performance, maintenance, you know, anything from brake jobs to motor builds, but not much we can't handle. You know, definitely Subaru specialty, like I said, but you know, we're willing to take on anything.
I don't know anybody that owns a Subaru that doesn't come here. So you guys are the Subaru guys, aren't you?
Yeah, we're Subaru.
Without like
we're everything Subaru.
tooting horn, everything Subaru. And do people come from all over, or is it New Hampshire based?
Oh,
like
we have a car out there from Alaska right now.
Alaska. So you know, people know. So I'm in the shop. I started my business behind you guys 12 years ago, and you guys. Didn't you get your name started like on forums?
Yeah.
I remember.
Back when forums used to be around.
Yeah, when forums used to be around, like you guys were always on the forums answering people's questions, and
Yeah.
that's how people heard about you.
Yeah.
And we started shipping your cars over this way back then.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's just, and now the name's just all over the place. So Kinetic Motorworks, Hampstead, New Hampshire. Instagram?
Just at Kinetic Motorworks.
At Kinetic Motorworks. Website?
KineticMotorworks.com.
KineticMotorworks.com. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know how to do dynos. I've done one dyno once on my 240. So he measures the wheelbase with a measuring tape, and then he adjusts the rollers forward or back based on the wheelbase of the Mustang. All right, car is all set up on the dyno. I am not experienced in this, so that's why I leave it up to you guys. I asked Ryan from Kinetic Motorworks if he could just give us a walkthrough on how the dyno works. I noticed you measured the wheelbase, which I thought was kind of neat. I'm gonna walk over here. You have it set up already based on what looks like your most popular cars already?
Yeah, usually it's around what Subarus are or lower.
Yeah.
And then we have everything up to front-wheel drive cars and newer GT500s.
So you can adjust this to whichever vehicle you
Yeah,
have.
basically the front roller is separate from the rear roller, so the whole section moves. And each roller weighs about 3,000 pounds. So it's definitely a dyno that can handle a lot of power. But yeah, basically the whole thing just shifts, so we can put different cars on here.
And then aside from, so I watched you tie it down, we have the tie downs on the front wheels, and then what do you go on the rear? Just
This one,
rear axle?
rear control arms.
Rear control arms?
Yep.
Okay. The fans obviously keep everything cool. How does the entire system work? Obviously you have an all-wheel drive dyno, which we don't need.
Yeah, so basically all it'll do is it'll only roll the rear roller, as obviously the rear wheels only spin. And that gets picked up through the computer, and you'll see what a horsepower and torque number. It's, yeah, pretty simple.
Can I ask you a question that might make me sound stupid?
I know.
So you see like max horsepower at a certain RPM.
Yep.
Why is it at a certain RPM? Like if you go in a higher RPM, you don't get more horsepower. You get the maximum horsepower at a certain.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how the car's calibrated and everything too. You know, you're only going to make so much power at a certain RPM and so much torque. And then obviously the graph overlays at 5252. So you start tuning these things and you can increase the power or decrease the power. And this is obviously kind of a fixed boost rate. It's a supercharger. It's not like a turbo where you can add boost. But yeah, the dyno does all the calculations and everything. It has all the weather correction parameters set in there. So it's pretty cool how it all does it. But
And then over there, I mean, you have your arm over here to your computer set up, which goes right to your driver window. So you're the driver on the dyno with a keyboard in your hand, and you're making your calibrations and adjustments from the driver's seat?
pretty much, yeah. I mean, the only thing we're going to be doing today is just operating the dyno and operating the car. I'm not going to be doing any tuning or anything like that on the actual car itself. So we're just going to see what it makes. You know, we don't really know. Obviously, it's a new car to use, so we'll see what it puts down and compare it to the old dyno graph, which would be pretty interesting.
I know everybody's going to want to know, have you ever had an accident on the dyno?
I've never had a car come off the dyno. We've had issues with like oil spills and things like that. So hopefully that doesn't happen today. But yeah, it's definitely a possibility with anything, especially a new car like you've never really driven it. So
I don't know this car at all. What did I say the dyno came up at a minute ago? Like 612, something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's realistic. I don't know if it's gonna do less than that.
Yeah, we'll compare it and see what it does. It's kind of a heartbreaker, especially in rear-wheel drive. So
Yeah,
we'll
right.
see.
All right, thank you very much. The snow coming in. Another stupid question, but shouldn't the cold air help? You'll get better times on the track in the cold, right? It wasn't spinning because he forgot to shut the traction control off. $519 is what it came up with? 519 and 537?
Yeah, 519 real horsepower and 537 real torque.
I think you guessed almost
guessed
identical
right
to
on
that.
that.
Wow.
It's about low 5. It dropped a little bit of power in the second one, probably either because it's getting hot, so heat soak, or it picked up some knocks, so it took some timing out. It's hard to say without logging it or anything. But
Still impressive numbers.
yeah, I probably wouldn't do another one.
Okay.
Just especially don't really know much about the car, and it seems like the clutch is definitely like sticking at high RPM.
Okay.
So I had to force it out of gear. So
That's great. Thank you so much for this.
yeah.
So I have another question too, which is like pump gas versus E85 race fuel. For me, that doesn't know any better, and anyone else that doesn't want to ask the question, can you explain the difference? Like this might have been 93, might have been 91. I have no idea. What do you see in results on the same engine, the same tune versus different fuels?
It really depends. So like if you're tuned for 93 octane, or let's say 91 octane, that's an E10 based fuel. So it's tuned for that. If you add in ethanol, your final fueling will be much richer because it requires more fuel with ethanol. So the higher the ethanol you increase it, basically the richer the car is going to run without being tuned for it. With ethanol, you need larger injectors, larger fuel pump, things like that, to be able to accommodate for the larger fuel volume necessary. But yeah, in a car like this, it's probably tuned on 93, maybe like with an octane booster. It's hard to say. Gas tank's almost empty too, so who knows really what's in there.
Typical used car dealer.
Yeah.
Shows up with an empty gas tank.
Yeah.
So if a car is tuned on like say 91 octane pump gas and you put 93 octane fuel in there, you aren't necessarily going to see a bump in horsepower. It's basically the power it's going to put out is what the car is tuned for.
That's perfect. Thank you. That was actually a perfect answer to my question. I didn't even know that that car was gonna blow up. I was just crossing my fingers that it doesn't explode on the dyno. It started right up again, which is a great sign. Now, we've already gone through it at my shop. Now we can take it back to the shop, clean it up, do some tweaking, and I don't know, see if we can sell this thing on Bring a Trailer or Cars and Bids, or maybe one of you guys want it. I don't know what's it worth. I think it's like worth somewhere in the mid 30s. Somebody's interested in this thing, give me a shout, because I'm not driving it until the snow melts and the salt goes away off the roads. Holla, holla. If it was at all interesting, fun, entertaining, thumbs up is always appreciated. Bell gives you notifications every time I make a new video, and subscribe for more videos. And a special thanks to Kinetic Motorworks in Hampstead, New Hampshire.